Shout out to Cats Pod.
1 second. A good defensive play for Montana State.
Touchdown, Tommy Milan is electrifying.
Welcome to the Cats Pod. What's up, Podcats? We are back at it again, leading into, for the second year in a row, the biggest game of the FCS season, the mountaintop that the Cats are trying to reach that summit one more time, the FCS Championship versus Illinois State. How you feeling right now, Eric?
Honestly, man, I didn't think we would be sitting here. So I don't want to say I feel like we're living on like borrowed time or anything, but I don't think that anybody, like, realistically, we all thought we'd be pretty good, but nobody realistically thought we'd be in back-to-back national championships with, you know, maybe a better team than we had last year. I mean, if you said you knew that going in, you're a liar, number one. But honestly, it's, you just try to sit back and appreciate it. We have talked so much about what it used to be like to be a Bobcat fan, and now we are polar opposites of the way it used to be. Like, it's a good feeling, man. Yeah. I don't really know how else to put it other than, I mean, we're just enjoying the ride, and I mean, Nashville, man.
Unless you were in that locker room leading up to the season, I don't think that you would know that this team was going to go that far. Just thinking back to the beginning of this season and what we were talking about, it was about all the mysteries on this team. Who is this guy, Justin Lamson? Who are these guys in the secondary? You know, how are they going to translate to it? There was just a lot of question marks, and so we couldn't be super optimistic. I know we were both kind of thinking, we could make a run in the playoffs. We could make another appearance at the national title game, semifinals, something like that. But the way this team is developed and what we've found out that these players actually are is incredibly impressive. So it is like they have earned every inch of this championship game. And I am just ready to see them execute and be done with it, because I feel like I thought that the week before the Super Brawl was the longest week of my life. This is officially the new longest week of my life, because it's just like every day. Today I was like sitting around and I thought it was Saturday for a minute, because right now we're in the week of lost time where nobody knows what's going on or what's up and down. And all of a sudden I went, it's only Thursday. Like, I still have to wait Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all day of Monday, and then we get to watch this game. So I'm just waiting. Yeah.
I mean, and that's a great way to put it. I mean, there was a lot of question marks. I mean, we picked the season at the beginning, and, you know, being the unbiased fans that we are, I think we picked them 11-1 or something like that. So
we picked them only to lose to Oregon.
We had high hopes, and it's more comforting in a soft Big Sky conference. Neither one of us thought that we would blow out everybody but the Grizzlies in conference play.
Not exactly. No.
But I mean, I don't even think guys are playing over their ability, like, you know, over their ability. I think the coaching job, especially on really young men, really paid dividends this year. I mean, he was able to transform what was a very, very young team into a national title contender, and that's awfully impressive. And I know the team over the hill might be a little bit jealous right now. Maybe just a little bit.
Just a touch. There's been so much growth throughout this season. Like, I think that's important to remember, because when we played against SDSU, it wasn't the greatest game for us. It was a very competitive game, double overtime loss. Everybody knows that. But just the team, the way they have gotten better game by game, and how the 1-0 mentality is carried over from last season and the seasons before. And just really this championship run is not just built on this year, but it's built on a body of work that was started with guys like Troy Anderson and is just led up. And so if this championship game goes as well as we think it will, and we'll get into like what we think, how we think this game is going to go, but I think that everybody down the line deserves some credit. Like everybody
Yeah.
for the last 10 years in the Bobcat organization, this is your ring, this is your championship, this is something that you can be proud of as well, you know, because this is a culmination, it feels like, of something that has been going on for a very long time.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of effort from a lot of different people and really ballsy decisions from guys in power in the university or people in power in the university. And, you know, the willingness to invest in not only the university, but the athletic department, and, you know, finding the right guys and the right guys finding the next set of right guys. And it's just been a snowball effect of really good things to happen.
Yeah.
And, you know, the last 5 years as a Bobcat fan have been really good. Really, I mean, it's been better longer, but I mean, these last 5 have been pretty special. You know, 19 through, I guess, you know, no season in 20, but so all those seasons together just kind of build into this where we're at now. And I want this one, Ben. I want this bad.
And I need to catch myself. I need to catch myself a little bit, because that little speech I just gave there, that is a speech you give after the game, Ben. You got to chill out, man. That is a speech you give after you've won the national championship. That is not the speech for the week before. Like, I gotta chill out a second. But just feeling very, very lucky as a fan with this team and what they've put together and how they've grown throughout the season. So,
I mean, listening to Vegan's press conference, I love the way, you know, he doesn't give any definitives. Or, you know, saying, oh, Caden Dowler is going to play. He says, you know, optimistic. There's optimism that maybe even Aaron's might be available, which I don't think any of us thought might happen. Plus, these guys have had 2 weeks now to get healthy.
Yeah.
There's injuries out there. You know, we don't know the extent on a lot of them, but 2 weeks of being able to take care of yourself and not getting knocked around at all is definitely going to help. I'm honestly feeling really good about where we're at right now. I think, you know, there's narratives out there that the Cats have tough time after a bye week. And I don't think that that's necessarily true. I think that this team has proven that they can go out and be better every game they play. And I you know, it's hard to not just expect that in this one.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that during the Super Brawl, you know, all season long, we had kind of seen, you know, the offense, you know, if it wasn't working quite right, the defense would spark them with something. Or special teams, or if the defense was letting up something, the offense would come out, shut it all down, re-spark the team. And I really thought that the Super Brawl was an eye-opener because they didn't need that at all. They were able to just find that themselves, make the, you know, the offense was able to go out and click on all cylinders a bunch of times in a row. Same with the defense. And so, like, I feel like, you know, for such a young team and, you know, a fairly new team after all the turnover from last year, coaching staff, players, the whole nine, I feel like we're finally seeing what this team actually is. I think what we might see in the national championship is the version of the team at their best. I really believe that. And I you know, everybody thought they were going to lose. Everybody but Cat fans thought they were going to lose to the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
Pat McAfee picked them again.
It's been just, it's not like last season, because last season it felt like every time we made a turn, there was just talk about how weak the Cat schedule was, and there wasn't a lot of belief in the team. This year, it doesn't feel like anybody's talking about the schedule. It honestly didn't feel like the Cats were being talked about a lot at the national scale until NDSU lost. And then all of a sudden, it was like, okay, these guys are the favorites. And it
Yeah.
felt like it kind of came out of nowhere in a way, but there was just a lot of disbelief within the state, and I think that's what affects us more than anything, because those are the people that we're talking to. Like, we're not talking to national media members on a week-to-week basis. We're talking to other fans and our friends about the game,
Yeah.
you know? And that's what we try and do with the podcast as well, is just two buddies that are talking about the Cats. And that's when we talk to our friends and stuff who are majority Grizz fans. I don't know why that is. That's kind of weird. But it seems like all of our friends are Grizz fans. They just didn't believe in the Cats at all. And so now it's time to start believing in the Cats. If you haven't started already, it is time to start believing.
And I think the Cats have seen enough different looks from different teams here that there isn't much that can surprise us, more specifically our defense, than the team in general.
Yeah.
We've played, all through the Big Sky. We saw, Caden Pinnock in regular season play, who was and is, one of the most dynamic athletes in the Big Sky Conference at quarterback. Ayat, we've seen him twice. We've seen Gilman twice. Ayat can throw the heck out of the ball, and Gilman can run the heck out of the ball, even though he's not as good as Adam Jones. He can run the heck out of the ball. And then you have Yale, and you have Stephen F. Austin, all these different teams that are they are completely different. They are very good in other areas than I guess maybe Stephen F. Austin is maybe a little more similar to the Grizzlies and to a certain extent, but they've seen so many looks when it matters the most. Because we went UC Davis, Grizzlies, Yale, Stephen F. Austin, Grizzlies. I mean, that is a rough 5-game stretch, but I think it prepares you for this moment. Because I'm not saying that Illinois State hasn't done it, because they beat NDSU, and that is, that is very, very impressive and deserves a ton of credit. But the narrative that was applied to us before the Super Brawl also applies to them. It is hard to beat a team twice in 1 year. It just is. NDSU couldn't pull it through. NDSU is, I know that they got a lot of love. NDSU had a few flaws. We talked about it on that pregame. Yeah. A good defense is able to kind of stymie them a little bit. So I feel like where we're sitting right now is the best spot we could have been sitting. We had maybe not the hardest run to the national championship, because honestly, Illinois State's with NDSU in there is probably harder. But we had to play. I mean, Yale is one of the better football teams I've seen in a while.
Yeah. And they were a surprise. Yeah. And
I do think. Yeah. All right, go
ahead. Just talking about Yale, we didn't really know what the Ivy League was going to be. And Yale played smash mouth football. They were a very physical, very tough team, and I don't think that was expected. I think that there was some bias going on by myself against the Ivy League, thinking that they were going to be soft just because they're the Ivy League, Yeah. And I was thinking it's a bunch of these spoiled rich kids and all that stuff, and then they came in, and their team was tough. Like, they went after dudes. And I was not expecting that, and I wasn't expecting their running back to have the day that he had. He ran as well against the Cats as anyone but Eli Gilman, And it seems like week after week, the Cat defense has had to face amazing running backs, basically.
They have seen every week a little bit of everything special. They've seen the best players. I mean, what they were able to do to Michael Wortham twice deserves a ton of credit. What they were able to do to, Eli Gilman, he racked up some yards, but they ended up getting blown out anyway. Like, it wasn't good enough. Yeah. And when it mattered, where was he? He was dropping a ball that hit him right in the hands. So they've seen the defense has seen everything. So it's just really hard for me to believe that Illinois State can come in and just, and that's not just being a biased Cat fan. Tommy Rittenhouse is not as good as Khalil Ayat. He just isn't.
Yeah.
Eli Gilman is a much better running back than anything Illinois State has on their roster. So I find it very hard to believe that they're going to be able to score a ton of points on this Bobcat defense.
Yeah.
All they've done is they've proved it every week for the last, basically to UC Davis, because the rest of them were, they just blew them out. So it's kind of tough to talk about those ones. But against the good teams, the defense shows up.
Yeah.
They have every time made huge plays. And honestly, like, even with Caden Dowler leaving, Coulter Petrie came in and played phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
He's a sure tackler. And so, like, love Caden Dowler, but Petrie is right there just in case he can't go or is limited or something like that. So I guess I'm feeling extremely optimistic. I'm looking at the point spread right now, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love the point spread.
Double digits, baby. Double digits, like almost the entire season.
Yeah. I'm really feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm honestly a little surprised it's not higher, but I think that all goes to the NDSU win.
Yeah, for sure. That definitely factors in heavily.
And like I said, the Illinois State does deserve a ton of credit for that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have maybe the best wide receiver in the FCS on their team. That kid's special. I'll leave it to you to pronounce this name. I'm not even going to try.
You're not going to go for it. The thing is, you make a really good point, because there are a lot of really talented players on this Illinois State team. But when we start comparing them to the players that Montana State has faced throughout this playoff run and throughout the season, it kind of puts all of that into perspective. Sobkowitz is very good. I don't know. But then you bring up a guy like Wortham that we've already faced and has been shut down by the secondary of the Bobcats twice, like you already mentioned. And so that doesn't really make you shake in your boots to have this guy like Sobkowitz there. He is very talented, and he's a very good catcher in the end zone, and he gets those high point balls and very, very dangerous. But I don't think that's going to add up to enough points to beat the Cats. It's going to rely heavily, and you said this before the podcast, on whether or not Illinois State's defense can step up and do it. Because they're going to have to limit the scoring of Montana State in order to be able to keep up in this game.
Yeah. I mean, the fact of the matter is Illinois State is here because of their defense. We've talked about it before. Their head coach is a very, very talented coach. There is no doubt about that, but they have some dudes on this team. They got, 26 seniors or something like that?
Yeah, it's
not just on the defense, but like across the team. Like, this is a well-aged team. They have a ton of experience, but this defense, and specifically the defensive line, their defensive line is very good, because I think they run a 3-3-5, which has shown not to work great. But when you have extremely talented players on the defensive line, it does work, and they have that. So,
and also their defensive line is backed up by possibly two of the best linebackers in the country. Like, they're the staple of Illinois State's defense is those two linebackers, 14 and 49. So when you've got those guys backing up a defensive line that's already steady, it's a defense to be reckoned with. And they have done good things against, they completely shut down the NDSU offense. The offense did nothing outside of one touchdown to Bryce Lance in that game. So if that defense is that quality and they show up with that kind of energy against the Cats, this becomes a much more interesting, intense game.
Yeah. And I honestly, the way I see this game going, maybe not so much like the second Cat Grizz, but like kind of what we see with Bobcat football over the course of time, really. This may be a smash mouth, low scoring game for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But what we've seen over the course of this season is that defense just makes people not want to play football anymore.
Yeah.
About toward the end of that third quarter, those guys are not feeling it. They are not feeling good anymore. The Cats are just, they just tee off on everybody. No aggression held back at all, and they just beat them into a point of submission, and that's when you start to walk away. Because that's the thing. Like, do they have the depth? Because the Cats do.
Mm-hmm.
Can they keep that defense fresh?
Yeah.
Because the Cats, and there's no. We haven't even seen the creativity come out of the playbook, in my opinion. I feel like there's a lot that we haven't really seen. We're getting to the last game of the season, and all of a sudden Rocky Lencioni is blossoming into a tight end / wide receiver, making highlight reel grabs down toward the end zone.
Yep.
Like, I think that the Bobcat offense is as big of a question mark for Illinois State as maybe ever. Like, there's probably more questions from them about what they're going to see, because we've talked about it all season. Who are you going to get, Julius Davis or Adam Jones? Because they're both going to nail you. You have Taco Dowler and Taco Dowler Jr. and Dane Steele. You got to pick to cover one of them, and then Chris Long's beating you over the top.
Yeah.
You have to worry about Province, Lencioni, and Schleppy. There's just so many problems, and you're going to make a mistake at some point. And maybe Illinois State has the depth. We just haven't seen it.
Yeah.
And we've played a lot of really good teams, and we've seen it, over and over again. The fourth quarter is the Bobcats live for it.
It's weird because we're in a situation, and I'm not saying that Illinois State didn't earn this, because they definitely did, but like I was talking about, Montana State has been working towards this for years and years and years, and they have nearly reached the top of the mountain so many times over the years. And Illinois State is just having this magical Cinderella run right now, and it's a very different type of team. But when you look back, like today I was watching the highlights from that NDSU game, watched them play against Villanova, watched part of their game against UC Davis, and the Illinois State team is very flawed, and it almost doesn't matter because they have a ton of heart, and they keep going at these teams, and it doesn't matter if they make some mistakes, they keep making up for them with crazy plays. And you just wonder when that luck, I don't want to call it really luck, but when that's going to run out. And I know it's a championship game, so there's going to be a bunch of jitters in the first quarter, and we're going to see some craziness. We're going to see some crazy plays that we couldn't predict, or no one can predict. We could see Rittenhouse go off in the first quarter, and then all of a sudden we're playing a very different game. Because that's the kind of player that he is. He's like a true gunslinger to me. And he's going to throw the ball away a couple times in this game. But he's probably going to make 3 or 4 passes that make you go, oh no, real quick. So it's going to be tense.
Yeah. And, we talked a lot about it during the Super Brawl recap. Give me the clutch guys. The guys who have the clutch gene. That's Justin Lamson and Adam Jones to me. Julius Davis, they just Taco.
Yeah.
Those 4 guys made extremely, extremely important plays, extra yards, whatever it may have been, but they just, when it mattered most, they came through. The entire defense, they have, every one of those guys has the dog in them, that clutch gene. But give me the team that has guys that don't crumble under pressure. Because if there was ever a time that you were going to crumble, it was the Super Brawl. For sure. And we saw it on the other side. They just fell apart. The Cats just broke everything in them, and they fell apart. And I don't want to give any disrespect to last year's football team, But this just feels different right now.
Mm-hmm.
And not because North Dakota State isn't on the other sideline, because believe me, I would bet the spread 100% on on Montana State to cover and beat North Dakota State. I feel that confident in them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just because the question marks get answered every time. Like last year, there were some really good players in our secondary.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Polidor and John Johnson, and you know, but I don't want Polidor and John Johnson compared to what we have right now.
Yeah.
Not a chance in hell.
No.
I want what we have right now, because this is the best secondary I've ever seen in Bobcat uniforms by quite a bit. I mean, they're so young and they're so good and they're so fast and tough.
Hungry. Yeah.
And that's what you want against a quarterback like Rittenhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Test them, because all they've done is make really good quarterbacks pay for it every single time. I mean, Ayat lit the stat book up this year through the air.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if he didn't set records, he was dang close to records.
Yeah.
And they made his life miserable. I mean, the front four are constantly pressuring him. More interceptions. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm having a really hard time to think that this game, that the Bobcats don't cover comfortably.
Yeah.
Not a blowout. Not saying that, but I love 14 points in this.
Mm-hmm.
If you can, I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Feeling really confident about that. I mean, I don't even think, like, our special teams is light years better than theirs.
Mm-hmm.
By a substantial margin. We have the better skill position players on special teams to make plays. I mean, nobody's better than Taco Dowler back there.
Yeah. I
mean, so it's like, I can't find a facet of this game that Illinois State is truly better than the Bobcats in.
Yeah. And I think that's been kind of Illinois State's run the entire time. If you look at them on paper, they're not a better team than NDSU. They're not a better team than UC Davis. They're not a better team than Villanova. If you look at it straight up just on paper. But they just make things happen. And I think it's going to be important because you, like you mentioned, throughout the game, Bobcats have had a tendency, the Bobcat defense has had a tendency to just break down offensive players. Yeah. And with what Illinois State has shown in these playoffs, I think they're going to be very hard to break. I don't think that they're going to get into their heads very easily. I'm not saying that the defense isn't going to be winning it, but I'm saying this Illinois State team does not break. They're going to keep going at them no matter how many times you hit them as hard as you possibly can. They're going to get back up, dust it off, and keep coming at you. So the Cats are going to have to keep the foot on the pedal the entire game, and they're going to have to keep the intensity from first whistle to last. Like, it's going to be very important for them not to let up for a second, because that is what Illinois State has done, is waited for teams to underestimate them, and then all of a sudden they're up, and everybody's going, how did this happen? You know?
I mean, they won a game against North Dakota State where Rittenhouse threw 5 interceptions.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
They truly do not quit. But I'm going to tell you this right now, and anybody who decides to listen to this, if Rittenhouse throws 5 picks to the Bobcats, it's a boat race spectacular.
Oh, yeah.
The Cats do not screw up when they get the ball.
Yeah.
They don't. If they pick it off, they ride on momentum like a team I've never seen. They're already good and probably would have been fine if it was just a punt or something, but if they get a pick, it just changes the dynamic of the team and they become superhuman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely, like, this is mainly probably me doing some devil's avocado stuff or trying not to overlook Illinois State too much, because above all else, I completely agree with you that if you look at every single position, our guys are better. Our coaching staff is better. Like, it's just the way it is. And I would rather have Justin Lamson, who is just tactical back there and making good choices, and it makes some spectacular throws, don't get me wrong, but also he just does not make mistakes. I would way rather have that than a guy like Rittenhouse, where it's like you're not sure if it's going to be magic or if it's going to be 6 points in the other direction when he throws the
Well, I mean,
ball.
just look at the statistics between the two quarterbacks. I mean, Justin
Mhm.
Lamson, while he doesn't throw nearly as much, has 4 times less interceptions.
Yeah.
He's only thrown 3 picks all year, and you know, he doesn't turn the ball over very
Mhm.
often. And I think one thing that is not talked about enough with Justin Lamson, and you just said it, which popped it into my head, is how precise he is with his ball placement.
Yeah.
There were some of those throws in the Super Brawl. One of them was to Chris Long, and one of them was to Dane Steele. Those two specifically, those were tight windows. Same with the Taco Dowler throw, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, the ball was placed in the perfect spot that only they could get to it. He trusted them to make a play. They make the play. And I think that's what's special about him is, he has the ability to just throw darts to guys in tight space, but also has the smarts to know when to keep it. And he doesn't force things that aren't there. And that's a characteristic, especially at the FCS level, that is sometimes lost. Like guys panic and try to force things that aren't the best decision. His decision making is really good.
Yeah.
And so I think he deserves a ton of credit for that. And I think it was really I think there was a real spotlight on it in the Super Brawl because everybody was watching that game.
And it's just straight up poise from Lamson because he's walked into some of the toughest situations you can go into in the FCS, playing on the road in Wagriz and then in the Super Brawl, and he didn't even bend in either of those games. So
no,
you got to think he's ready for a game like a national championship. And then as we move down like the season leaders, when you start talking about the running backs, Illinois State runs, like I think they just recently got one of their running backs back. Yeah. And so they're running like a 2 running back system, but it is 2 guys who I believe have very similar skill sets. It's not the same as when you throw out the evil twin stuff between Julius Davis and Adam Jones, because they both hit you hard in different ways. They're both very different fighters, but they're both very strong. So it's a totally different monster when they have to face guys like Julius Davis and Adam Jones than the 2 guys that they have over at Illinois State. They're very good running backs, but they both seem like they're kind of both power backs. I may be wrong. I haven't watched a ton of it, but that's what it strikes me as.
Yeah, I think you're right. And, I think that, how do you say it? Sobkowitz?
Sobkowitz.
Sobkowitz. Sokowitz. See, this is why I leave that to you.
Sobkowitz.
I'm just going to start calling him Sob.
Sobby. What's up, Sobby? Try it.
Old Sob.
Wasabi.
I think he's kind of grown through the season, kind of hitting his peak right now, which is, what they want. But, I mean, his totals aren't that good if you look at it. The way he's talked about and respected, he's not that far. Taco Dowler is our leading receiver, and he's not that far off it.
Yeah, yardage-wise, for sure. I think when they're talking about Sobkowitz, it's mainly those touchdowns and how he can be a threat in the red zone,
Yeah. I mean, 18 touchdowns is pretty respectable, but, I mean, the yardage isn't crazy. He has, quite a few more receptions than Taco does.
Yeah.
So,
9.
they're... Yeah. But, like, in a Bobcat game, 9 receptions is like... that's like 3 games.
Yeah. It's more just about spreading the ball around with the Cats.
Yeah.
Because it's like Taco's the leading receiver, but also a lot of balls get thrown to tight ends. A lot of balls get thrown to Adam Jones. And then also, like you mentioned before, Chris Long, Dane Steele, Jabez Woods. Like, all these guys are factors. So you can't key in on a guy. Like, our defense will essentially be able to key in on Sobkowitz the same way they would a guy like Wortham.
Yeah.
And you can't do that against the Bobcats because you're going to get hit from 3 other directions if you cover just one guy.
Yeah. I can't wait for this game, man. I think it's going to be a slugfest.
Mm-hmm.
I do think the Cats will walk away at the end. Not run away, but walk away.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for 3/4 of this, it's going to be pretty darn entertaining football back and forth. Although I do think it might be a little lower scoring
Mm-hmm.
than a lot of Bobcat games we've watched. But I just have such a good feeling about this team. I feel like last year we were in the middle of that darn coaching deal with Washington State.
Yeah.
For the 2 weeks leading up to the national championship, that's all anybody was talking about.
For sure.
That's not there. I'm sure there's no transfer portal noise in the locker room. That's just an unfortunate part of it. But I mean, that was going on last year too. But the big one was Vegan staying or was Vegan going? And that was, I think that caused it. Maybe not issues, but I mean, it would be hard to focus if you don't know if your coach is coming back or not.
Definitely. Yeah.
Taking you to the game, or maybe he's not even on the sideline. They didn't know that. So it's like, I feel like right now we're in the spot where there's no noise. The last time we saw him take a little bit of a step back was Yale.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Yale was a lot better than anybody gave them credit for. But also, what happened during that bye week? Oregon State rumors.
Yeah. Weirdness. Once again.
Yeah. Just a bunch of noise going on from every single media outlet in the state of Montana, and social media and everything is talking about Vegan to Oregon State.
Mm-hmm.
That gets squashed, and now look, they're playing their best football right now.
Yeah.
There's no noise. The team is great. I can't wait. I don't want to count my chickens, but god dang it, it's hard not to. It really is.
It looks like a lot of chickens, my dude. Looks like a lot of chickens. It's an exciting time. You're right, there's definitely a lot less noise than there was last year going into it. Also just factoring in like everything that was going on with Tommy and getting the Walter Payton Award. I think that pulled a little bit of focus as well. And so there was just a lot of things going on leading up to the game. And this year it seems like the team can just get to Nashville, focus on business, and not do anything else except for get ready for this game. Speaking of Nashville, do you think there will be any focus problems from either of the teams because of the location of the game? Because Nashville is Nash Vegas. It's got to be pretty crazy over there.
I don't think so. I mean, in all honesty, I feel like this team is buttoned up enough that I don't see anything like that happening. I will say the one thing about Nashville that maybe didn't cross everybody's mind at the beginning, like, oh yeah, Nashville, great, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It costs a fortune to get to Nashville.
Yeah, it's very expensive for sure.
I mean, there's ways around it, but it requires like flying to a different city and driving. And I was looking. I'm not going, but I was looking. I'm not too far from Calgary up here, so I was looking at Calgary, and it's still a $700 plane ticket to go there. And a lot of Bobcat fans are just blue collar working people, and that's a large investment to get down there.
Yeah,
I mean, you're talking several $1,000s between the whole thing, and it's probably just not super realistic. And travel is a pain in the butt. It truly is, and I hope it doesn't affect our fan turnout too bad. Because in all honesty, Frisco is easy, very very easy. Quick flight, no weirdness with flights, no ultra expensive flights. It wasn't too expensive down there. I think our fans will still show out really good, but I do think that I don't think the crowd will be as big as it was in Frisco, especially Illinois State has such an easier time.
Yeah.
They're only 6 hours from the dang stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a
I definitely think the Bobcat fans are going to show up. And I think
I
you
know
can
that.
kind of tell that based on how the flight prices have gone through the roof if you try and fly out of anywhere in Montana. Because I
Yeah.
feel like before the Super Brawl, you could have probably picked up one of those tickets for like $600-700, and now your cheapest ticket is like $1,700. And I gotta think that's because everything is selling now, and so everybody is packing planes to get to Nashville to go to this game. And I'm kind of excited to see what the atmosphere will be like, because I can't remember what is the size of the stadium in Frisco. It's smaller than Vanderbilt Stadium, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, what did I see? 25,000, if that.
Yeah, I think it's 32,000.
35, I think. At
35.
Vanderbilt.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds right. I mean, it's a huge stadium. So,
I mean, that there's going to be plenty of room. I mean, the tickets that I've seen haven't gotten outrageously expensive, which means there's plenty of them. I do think there will be a lot more Cat fans than Illinois
Yeah.
State fans, for sure.
mhm.
And honestly, people, I do think it could be a well attended game just because it's in town too.
Yeah.
Like those guys might just want to come watch it.
I think there's going to be a ton of people there, and I'm just excited to see what it looks like, because that could be a massive crowd for this game. And like tickets are selling on StubHub and everything that I saw, but when you go to the actual ticket sales for the national championship game, like on eVenue, there's only a handful of tickets actually available.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's like everything is pretty much sold. It's just whether or not resellers are going to be holding onto those tickets till the very end.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think this is going to be awesome. I mean, nobody really thought the Cats were going to be right back in the national championship.
No.
So I think next year, assuming nothing crazy happens portal wise or anything like that, I think that Bozeman will get it figured out.
Yeah.
A little bit better, make it a little more reasonable to get down to Nashville for this game. But I do think the crowd will be good. I hope that it's similar to what we had in Frisco last year, because that was nuts. There was a ton.
And I think I really think it will be.
Yeah. Yeah. So I can't wait, man.
It's an exciting time. Exciting time to be a Cat fan.
I do think that we need to the petty part of me. Okay? The petty part of me wants to talk a little bit about what's happening in Missoula right now.
Okay. We can go into it a little bit.
This is bad, man. I don't know. I mean, Grizz fans are still imploding.
Yeah.
We've seen that half their fan base wants every coach on that staff fired. They're graduating out most of their team, and now they have all their impact players hitting the portal, which I'm not saying we're not going to have to lick our portal wounds at some point too.
Everyone does.
But
the portal giveth and the portal taketh away.
It sure does. But what I'm trying to figure out here is, how could they not keep at least a couple of these guys? I mean, they're losing so many guys to graduation. All those guys that portaled in are leaving. So they get Ayat to stay. I don't know what that costs. Sure, it wasn't cheap. I'm pretty sure they're going to get Gilman to stay. That won't be cheap, but that's 2.
Yeah.
And of course, we don't know the grand scheme of things, but then, Wilkinson is hitting the portal. Loud hits the portal. That freshman All-American tackle they have is in the portal. Otluski is in the portal. And you mean to tell me they couldn't afford to keep one of those 4 guys? They couldn't prioritize some funds to keep one of those guys? They have to rebuild their entire offensive line. Every single one of them is gone. Almost their entire defense is gone. like, I would be spinning also.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you do here? I mean, they're going to have to hit the portal so hard and just try and patchwork another team together just to make things work.
Mm-hmm. It reminds me a lot of I'm imagining that Grizz fans are feeling the same way we did after our loss to NDSU in that first round game of the playoffs. Because the next week we lost like Seabass and like 7 other dudes and Rush Reimer and a bunch of guys on the team. And it was like the sky is falling, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. And that is one of the worst feelings. And when the season is over and all of a sudden you see everybody start leaving the team, it's not a great feeling. But I also don't think it's the end of the world. Because it all comes down to how well can you recruit and how well can you bounce back from that. Because if you look at the season we had post those guys leaving, it was the best season in Bobcat history.
That's
so
fair.
It's way more important how you respond and how you pick up players in the portal or have your recruiting set up. But that's the big question for the Grizzlies is do they have the recruits to fill in those spots? Because we didn't fill in a ton of the spots with transfer portal guys. We filled in a lot of the spots with people who were already on the roster and were waiting to get a chance to get on the field.
But what you're trying to make a comparison to two very different scenarios here. Yeah. What Vegan has built is not, I just am not convinced that that's what Montana has.
Yeah, that's fair.
Vegan, he's built that team to a point where, like you said, guys are going to leave. Mm-hmm. That is a foregone conclusion. He knows that. He understands that.
Yep.
And has put guys into position to just be able to step in. And I'm just not sure Montana, and, like I said, this is the petty part of me. Watching that happen over there, it's just, not that it makes me happy, but it kind of does.
Yeah. It definitely itches a little bit of the schadenfreude. You get a little bit happy for the downfall just because there's been so many years of dominance. And it really comes down to, is Houck going to revolutionize the way that he coaches and the way that he handles a program? Because he's going to have to pivot because it feels like what he's doing isn't quite working. And he's trying to stick with the old way. And I think he's got to modernize in some ways. And I know what Vegan's doing isn't super modern. Like, is when you go at the core of it, he builds a strong offensive and defensive line. They win the battle at the line of scrimmage. These are all old school football tropes. But when we start talking about the way that he builds a culture within the locker room, it doesn't seem like it's built on fear at all. And that's the vibe that I get from Montana, is that a lot of the pushing is built on fear and kind of intimidating the players into being better. And Vegan's not that way. He's just like, I'm going to give you everything, all the tools you need. I hope you do what you can with it. But if you don't, I've got 3 guys behind you that will, and I give these opportunities to everybody.
Yeah, that's a super fair way to put it. But I mean, it's going to be really, really interesting to see what the Grizzlies do with this little mess that they've got. Because, I mean, I don't blame their fan base for spinning right now. I really don't. I mean, that's going to be tough. I mean, they're losing their best players, not only to graduation, but the portal.
Yeah.
And they have always had, I don't even know if I want to call it better luck in the portal, or at least better luck with not losing guys to the portal. But that isn't the case this year.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, it's going to be, they're not going to be a whole lot of familiar faces on that team next year.
Yeah, and it kind of sucks because when we were talking after the last game, I was hoping that a lot of guys would stay and that we would kind of see this rivalry build up over the course of a couple years. It's not looking that way, at least on the defensive side of the ball. And when we talk about the offensive lines, like offensive and defensive lines were a problem for Montana. And now the guys that are strongest on both those units seem like they're out of there. So
Yeah.
it's not looking great going forward for them. But
I guess I was just more surprised because I said on the last one I didn't think very many guys would leave
mm-hmm.
because I just didn't think there was going to be a ton of guys to, with what they were graduating out. I figured they would have the money to keep some of those guys.
Yep.
And I was wrong.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen very often, but boy, I was wrong.
Yeah.
And I was happy to be wrong about that.
Okay. Should we get off of the Grizzlies' grave and do some score predictions or something for the actual championship game that's coming up?
Before we do a score prediction,
mm-hmm.
who's the leader on the bracket?
Who's the leader? It's Eric Kletke, still leading on the bracket. Also, probably going to win the thing because everyone at the top, all the people in the top 3, which is like 9 different people, all picked the Bobcats to win.
Yeah.
So the only way someone else wins the bracket challenge is if the Cats lose. So congratulations, Eric Kletke, for winning the first inaugural Cats Pod Bracket Challenge.
All right, give me your prediction, Ben. Let's hear it.
Okay. 1 second. Should we do an X Factor for the game? One from each of us?
Yeah, go for it.
Kind of on the spot. But
you start.
Okay. I'll start off. I think the X Factor for this game is going to be Kenneth Iden getting sacks on Tommy Rittenhouse. I just see him causing a bunch of chaos in the backfield, tackles for loss, sacks. He's been playing like an animal throughout the entire playoffs. Like he's just found another gear. And it's also, as you mention often, because Paul Broad is getting double teamed all the time. And so it leaves him open some more. But it just seems like Kenny Iden has turned a corner in this offseason, and he is now a monster. Complete and total monster. And watching those highlights of Illinois State's run, there's a lot of times Rittenhouse gets sacked. So I'm just, based on that, thinking that Kenny Iden could be eaten in this game with a little sprinkling of probably another Caden Dowler interception.
Yeah. If he plays.
Yeah.
Hopefully he plays.
I think he's going to play. Come on.
My mind went directly to the same spot you did, but I was going to say Zach Cruz.
Oh, good.
Zach Cruz was phenomenal in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I was going to go with Zach. And I feel like on offense, I feel like the X factor is Adam Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time. Like he's just so dynamic.
Yeah.
He's so athletic. I feel like the game goes kind of with him to a certain extent. Like can he replicate what he's done the last like 9 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
If he can, then I think that's your guy on offense for sure.
Yeah. Offensive X factor for me, I think I got to go with our guy Chris Long. I feel like he's been an X factor for us throughout the entire season. Kind of waiting for him to have a blow up game, and he's had some very impressive games. But if he is able to blow the top off of the offense or the defense in this game 2 or 3 times, this becomes a much different game for the Bobcats. Because when they have that dimension of deep balls to Chris Long, as well as guys like Taco and the running backs that we've already talked about, and Lamson on the ground and through the air, like that puts icing on the cake for a national championship for me.
Yeah, I think any one of those 4 has a big game is probably looking pretty good.
Yeah, definitely.
As far as score, I don't know what do you happen to know what the over under is? Oh, I see it. 56 and a half.
Yep.
I think I kind of like the under in this game. I like the point spread at 10 and a half.
Yeah.
I I could really see this being like a 28-14 kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 31-14, something like that. I think they are going to get into the teens on score.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think we beat them by. I'd like 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
quite a bit.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. The one thing that we haven't really mentioned throughout this that I've heard brought up is Illinois State's ability to control the time of possession. And I think if they are able to have a high time of possession, we could definitely see a much lower scoring game. And so that would be right down the alley that you're talking about with that 28-14. We could end up in a spot like that if Illinois State is able to control the time of possession. I kind of think we're going to see some craziness in this, man. I think it's going to be weird. I think there's going to be a lot of jitters, especially early on in the game. And I think we might see some crazy plays that are going to add a touchdown or two to that score. So I'm not super far away from you, but I'm thinking we might be seeing somewhere around, like, I don't know, terrible at math, but like 48-32 or something like that. I think it could be a super high scoring game. And I know that's a super high scoring game. And it's more than a couple touchdowns added. So I should probably take a touchdown off either side.
Yeah, I just have a hard time seeing them, gash the Bobcat defense too much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if there's one thing, those guys have been really good at making adjustments, and they haven't given up, I'm trying to look and see what the most points they've given up this season was, and that outside of the Oregon game, of course, and that was 30, the first game of the season to South Dakota State.
We'll call it. Now that I think about the numbers I was saying and the fact that I am terrible at math, it's probably closer to 24-38. I think that's fair.
Yeah, I can see it. I think my official will be 31-17.
Yeah.
I like that quite a bit. I think that, I don't know. If it does get into, if the Bobcat offense is getting stifled, if they can get anything going, I have a lot of faith in Miles Sandstead, a lot more faith in him than their kicker.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they just haven't necessarily needed to fall back to the kicking game very often. The offense has been able to figure out ways against really, really good teams.
Mm-hmm. But when they need it, Money Miles is there.
He's
when
there.
They need it. Yeah.
So I feel like I like 31-17. 31-17 feels like the right one for me.
Yeah. That feels respectable for sure.
Yeah.
It's just an exciting time. Super glad that we get to witness this. Super glad to be a Bobcat fan. And I just can't wait for it to be Monday. The clock is slowing down every single second, just tick-tock. It can't get here fast enough. And I hope that everybody who is able to make it to Nashville, you guys got to cheer twice as loud.
Yeah.
I need one fan cheering doubly loud for me and one fan cheering doubly loud for Eric. Or they may be able to hear us from our respective houses in Nashville.
Yes,
because this game's going to be, it's going to be blowing up. I'm sorry to my daughter, but I'll probably wake you up at least once.
Yeah.
Towards the end of this game.
I know our little watch party will be off the hook.
Yeah.
If it goes the way we want it.
Yeah. Definitely.
Otherwise, don't talk to me for a couple weeks.
Otherwise, I'm going in the cave. Watch out.
Yeah.
Going in the back cave.
The Lover House doesn't respond well to losing.
If anybody wants, we should start playing Mario Kart on stream or something so people can see just how bad a loser you are, because it is comical at times. It is comical.
Yeah, I don't like losing, and I won't apologize for that, Ben. I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, I just
I won't apologize. I'm sorry. Oh.
Yeah.
I won't apologize, and then you apologize. It happens.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to let the people know before we let them go?
No, it's a good time to be alive, man. Good times.
All right. Everybody have a great rest of your weekend. Happy New Year to everybody. And we will see you guys again after the FCS National Championship.
Let's go.